So there are three starting tools that every plumber on day one should have on them. And those three items are tape measure, carpenter's pencil, and box cutter, razor knife, whatever you want to call it, to cut open things and to, sharpen your pencil. Because you are going to mark things, you're going to cut things, and you're definitely going to measure things. Um, this is a cheapie. This is not my go-to, but I like to just keep it around the shop because it's Stanley. But if you can get the Fax Max versions, those are my favorite. There are other companies like Lifkin and Milwaukee or whatever. I use Milwaukee, but I still prefer Stanley's over everybody else because I think they're the best. If you want to go, two more things I'd probably suggest as a first day plumber you should get, and one of them for sure is your own set of 10-inch water pump pliers. So these are 250 mil or 10-inch. These ones are made by Nipex, and Nipex probably, in my opinion, make the number one, the best pliers in the world. There are channel locks. There's Wild, which is ones that you sell at the supply house. I found these the best. They're light. They're very strong. They are self-gripping, meaning that if you put it against a pipe, it locks itself in there. You could step on them if you need to. I've done that with radiators, taking off 3/4 inch nipples with these 10-inch counter pliers. Take off the left right nipples. I mean, they're really, really strong. And those are my go-to. Another one would be a 6-in-1, 7-in-1 type of screwdriver. This is a Milwaukee one. It has a quarter-inch bits, so you can put it on your regular drill driver, impact drivers. I would get the long ones. These ones are the longer bits. You'll find that if you get the ones with the shorter bits, like say on this drill driver here, it's good on some things, but half the time you're gonna put an extension on these short guys, and you'll find out that you're gonna start using these longer drill bits. They're much more preferred in the industry. So yeah, that's why you always get the quarter-inch drill shank bits. They're pretty much standard nowadays, but you might run into old ones that are proprietary, and those are just completely useless, so don't waste your time. So those are the 5 top tools I would get. I would say get a pencil, tape measure, knife, 10-inch pair of pliers. Get two. Get a pair. That way you can go back and forth with your work. So you have one applying the force and one holding the force. Okay, so always get a pair. Always work with pairs. And then, of course, a screwdriver. And that's good to just start off. Okay, so I just wanted to show you my service bag. This is the Milwaukee service bag. This predates Packout, so I had this for a couple of years. And so this has served me well. Okay, so front compartments, it's got a back, it's got a middle, and then this. So the front compartment, pretty simple. It's just a house. You just pull these straps down. I just house my gloves here and some other small bits. I usually have the scraper. This is a 5-in-1 tool, paint scraper, a ring for the rollers, got a nail puller, and so this is just basically my scraper for wax gaskets. As you can see, it's all waxy. I hate wax gaskets with a passion, but you still gotta scrape them off because people still use them, and so you're gonna need a good, decent scraper. This is not as flexible. As you can tell, it's not very flexible, but if you want a good solid one you can kind of hammer with, this is the one to go to. Strapping, you don't need to carry this much strapping. I just had it lying in my bag, so you just need to get like one. Okay, so you do get a small little compartment here. I don't know what this is for, really. I just keep my electrical tester, so there's a Klein tool one, just to make sure that you can test circuits, so that to make sure they're not live while you're working on it. Guess that's what it's for. I really don't know where else you can store it. They say you can store goggles in here, but you can't store goggles, because if this flips, when you'll see when this flips down, this thing is going to be the first thing to touch, and you'll smash your goggles. So that's kind of a stupid way to do it. So inside my bag, this is what it usually looks like. To go back to the goggles, I think you can put them in here, but I don't. So it's just another storage pouch you can kind of. So we'll start at the top. This is my little cutter, 1/4 inch to an 1/8 inch OD. So rigid 101. It's a standard cutter, but it works. I don't use it very often. Some step bits to start off stuff. Just like a little nook for putting all your small stuff in there. Okay. These are my go-to pliers. These are the #1 tool that you're ever going to use in your backpack, probably besides the tape measure. But this is the pliers. These aren't the Knipex Cobras. They are the push button style to adjust versus the slip joint box joint style. Personal preference, my boss likes using slip joints. I like using push buttons. So that's all personal preference. But 10 inch is probably the most used. So these are both 10 inch Knipex Cobras, Knipex pliers. And don't cheap out. I see a lot of guys, they cheap out and then they buy some other brand or whatever, and it just never holds up. These have been in my, since I started, for 10 years, and they've been abused. And they still held up very good. The teeth are still sharp. You can still have the self-locking action, which is the reason why I bought these. But oh my gosh, these are just so much better. And you'll never go wrong with good pliers. So spend the money. Got screwdrivers to start here. Screwdrivers. Other useful tools here we're going to use. Regular 6 inch. So get some cheapy ones so you can, with lifetime warranty. Make sure you get lifetime warranty. Husky's terrible for that shit, so don't buy a Husky. If you can get like Craftsman or something. This is Mastercraft, which is Canadian Tire in Canada. Get something with this, because if it breaks, just go in there, get a new one, no questions asked, because you are going to smash them. Like I smashed the the slotted one a lot, because you can use it for a chisel or whatever, right? In Canada, you're going to use Robertson. In America, you're going to use Phillips. So you should always have some kind of set. This is for multi. So usually when I go inside a job site, I always bring this, because there's a variety of bits in there. And you just want to make sure that you got all the bits that you need. I have these demo screwdrivers. Okay. The reason being they're demos because they're full shank throughout with metal strike caps, so you can grab a hammer and start hammering things. And that's what they're for. So these are Milwaukee. They're pretty cheap. You can find them at Home Depot. They're very inexpensive. So get a slot, get a Phillips. You can use this as a flat chisel, use it as a bull point chisel. If you also can use this as an impact screwdriver, meaning that you could put it against a screw, hammer it, and then twist at the same time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but at least you have something that is able to handle it somewhat. Files. I just keep a round file with me, because sometimes when you get a round file, you get a burr. Sometimes you cut this with, let's say, a saw, and it's not very straight. It has all these burrs and everything. You can just go up to here and just clean it up just by like this. And you'll get most of it out. Just always have a file. It's always nice to have. You can get a flat one or a round one, but I prefer round ones. Drywall saw. This is a Ricard. Tin snips. This is Weiss. I can't pronounce it right. Weiss. And these are the standard straight ones. There are left and rights. You get them in a pack. They're like $20, and they're not very expensive. They're very good. These are very good aviation snips, tin snips. 5/16 is the most used nut driver, and you're going to use it mostly for like bands and stuff. So always keep a 5/16 one at least on hand. You're going to need a drill extension. Sometimes this is a 12-inch. Sometimes you just need to extend a bit. Good to have. Always nice to have just to lie around. PEX cutters. Well, all residential plumbing basically nowadays is just all PEX. It's nothing but PEX, so hardly any copper, so you should always have some kind of PEX cutter with you. This one is Milwaukee. It can do up to 1-inch PEX pipe. It's got a replaceable jaw here, and it's got a pointed blade, which is nice, not the flat blades. So they're great. I like them. They are expensive, but you know, they work for me. This is a fancy plier wrench. Oh, sorry, it's a fancy wrench. It's called a Pliers wrench, and it basically replaces an adjustable crescent spanner with a thumb screw. And so you can it just pushes like the Cobras. And this one's a little sticky because it's a little greasy. But yeah, you lock it on, has a certain size, and you open up the cam like that. That's a camming action. When you push it down, you can apply force, not just relying on the thumb screw like the crescent wrenches do. So you can actually put torque and force on a fastener, which is sometimes all you need. So this replaces my crescent wrench, and I never look back. Expensive, but I think it's definitely worth it for a plumber. And there's no teeth. So when you do finishing, there's no teeth on this. That's going to save you from scratching chrome and brass and all those other things to make your job a lot nicer. Get a level, of course. Get a non-twistable level. Get one with a metal housing. Like they cost more, but man, like those other ones are just like shit. Like those Empire ones are just like cheapy Empire ones are fucking garbage. Sorry about my swearing, but I just hate them. And you know, this one from Milwaukee is decent. It's got 3 different vials for 45, 0, and a 90. It's got the gradient. Get the ones with gradients in them. Spend the extra money, right? It makes life a lot easier when you need to know. You don't have to second guess yourself, you know. This one also has a PVC reamer. So this is the outside reamer for PVC pipe. This is the inside reamer like that for PVC pipe, of course, you know. So it helps. There's also the ridges here that are supposed to go deeper, the deeper ABS pipe or PVC pipe. When you cut it with the Sawzall, it's rough. You can kind of swirl it around there, but there's a better tool for that. But get one with a metal body. That's number one key. Okay, so next batch we'll go to needle noses. I keep different sizes. This one's mainly for electrical because it has the wire stripper ones. So these ones are mainly for that, for my electrical work. But this is the one I just use for every day. This is the smaller one for smaller places, but you know, gotta have some kind of needle nose because you can't fit everything with like pliers. This is gonna get you out of jam sometimes. You not necessarily need this, but a 90-degree kind of attachment so you could put on your drills to drill into tighter spaces. So you can see it greatly increases the flexibility of the tool. This one's a 1/4-inch shank. I think they're all 1/4-inch shanks. Milwaukee makes a really good one, heavy duty. Really, you could put an impact driver on it and get one of those spade bits, and it can handle a pretty big spade bit, like a 1 1/8, and you can drill right through cabinets to feed in water lines or whatever size you want, you know, that they have. So it's good. I like it a lot. Good to have. Replacement blades for your razor knife if you have them. You're gonna need a mini hacksaw. Cut toilet bolts off. This is what you mainly use it for. Inspection mirror. Got to be able to look around your surroundings. Make sure, you know, if you can't see, you can look at the back of things and your joints. Check your solder joints. Like, see, you got the back wall. Like, oh, how is it here? You know, oh, okay. You can take a look like that. It's good. Works. Get a smaller set of pliers because sometimes the bigger sets you can't fit the bigger ones in. So you got a 10-inch and then you get like a 7.5, like this one. Works. A brush, wire brush for fittings. Okay, so at the bottom here we got grease for faucets, washers, O-rings. You're gonna need some kind of plumber's grease. Good to keep on hand. Get a small bottle. This is, I think, is a 125 ml bottle of thing. You don't need a big one for this little bag, so it sits right here. Always nice to have. Gonna need some T-tape. Keep some T-tape. Ultimate combination when you're doing threading material. Bit set. We can have multiple bits. I bought this one from Canadian Tire. It came up with these pilot bits, which is great for me because you don't have to go to the truck and get these little bits in an extra box. Most of the bits here are the ones that I use, and they work for me pretty much 95% of the time. So, very versatile, very affordable. I keep some wire nuts just in case if you're doing dishwashers and hot water tanks. You need to cap off the electrical. Get can twist if you can, because this is like ideal for most of all. Pretty much one size fits all for 14 gauge wires and stuff. Like, it's the best. This is a Moen faucet tool. You get them everywhere in a Moen box. Keep them for yourself because sometimes you need to tighten faucets down. Good to have. You want to get a basin wrench in there. The reason why I got this bag is because they got the little hook. This little hook is good for peeling off O-rings off faucet cartridges like Emco, Waltec, whatever. It's a nice tool to have. You could use a thermostat screwdriver if you want, but this hook works way better. So I just keep that in there along with the T-tape. That way it doesn't fly around everywhere. What do we call those, pencil cases back then? It just basically holds my Allen keys here. I also got some, like a piece of sandpaper. You always got to have some of that lying around. Sharp eye caps. And I could keep these aerator keys in there. That way you can always flush out the faucets before installing them, or just flush them out when people have low water issues. Okay. Last thing is this back compartment. There's 2 slots, so I keep a drill. This is my go-to drill. Regular Milwaukee hammer drill. I prefer these over because they're quieter, and you can put multiple bits in there. Hex shank or the pilot bits I showed you earlier. It works most jobs. Flashlight, again Milwaukee, because I don't like buying batteries, and it serves me well. I can't go wrong with this. It's very affordable too. Get a hammer. Got to keep one around you to smash things, and that's basically it. So, as you can see, this bag that I have fits a whole bunch of stuff in here. So it probably weighs around 50 or so pounds, 40, 50 pounds. Like, it's a lot of weight, but it saves me going up and down in the truck. All this is basically all I can use for most of my jobs just to get started. And then if I need to get other stuff, I'll get other stuff. But just go inside the house or the job site, bring this bag, bring all these things, get started. You can't go wrong. So hopefully that helps, gives you a perspective of what a service bag can have. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.